What's up YouTube? Danny Hype here, back with another deck profile. Now the deck profile I have for you today is the Broly leader. It's coming out in about a week from now. I was playtesting it on my stream, we built it on my stream, got a lot of help from the community, so this was a kind of collective effort. But obviously, when I want to play this Broly leader, I'm always going to try to play with Zeno. Zeno is my favorite card in the game, so I'm always going to try making a deck with it, whether it works or not. I do believe we have something going here. Obviously, you can tweak a few numbers here and there, maybe a few adjustments, but this is the base of what I started with, and I think it's actually pretty powerful. So now let's just get right into it. Now, the Broly leader, his ability Unawakened is when he attacks, you can take a life and draw a card. So you do have a nice little, you can get a nice little card advantage early on to help put pressure on your opponent while controlling your self-awakening. Because being able to awaken on your turn or being able to control your awaken is very important in a game, opposed to having your opponent, force awaken you when you don't want to awaken in some senses. And then his awaken is untapped to energy. Now his other side, normal stuff, he attacks and draws, but his two abilities that he has, one is very powerful. Once per turn, you can rest one of your opponent's battle cards. Pretty nice to get rid of those pesky blockers or anything like that. Obviously doesn't get through barrier, but can't be too busted. The next one seems pretty busted. You can take a life, and when you take a life, you can basically restand any of your cards. Now it doesn't specify a battle card or anything, so you can restand your energy, your battle card, or your leader. Now being able to restand your leader means you get to attack twice with your leader, which means you get to draw twice with your leader, since there's no once per turn on the draw or anything like that. So 2 draws off a leader plus taking on a life, that's a nice little card advantage you can build yourself, which kind of plays into the theme of the deck and the Chain Zeno. A post-Chain Zeno is what I'm trying to go for. Now, let's just get into the cards. So now, Overwhelm, I chose these two Overwhelms. You can kind of play around with it. You might not even need the Time Patrol. I used to always play 2 and 2 Overwhelm cards. I do think Overwhelm is still one of the best mechanics in the game, and I know it's kind of slowly been pushed out with these sparkings or these wish leaders where you don't want to warp your graveyard because you need your graveyard and stuff like that. But I do like Overwhelm, and being able to have a Scientist Food 25k for 1 draw 2 is very powerful in the arsenal, and being able to draw it after a Zeno is very powerful. Then the next card obviously you see is Zeno, which is Zeno. He's my favorite card, and he's brought me a lot of success, so I'm still going to try pushing him through. So then the next one we have our Intensified Trunks. Obviously that's just to make it so we can get a cheap chain attack Trunks off. Now the M2 here, I like the M2 because there are a lot of 1-drop things that are just very annoying. Now the Mass Saiyan, that one would really hurt our deck as well. Being able to just M2 these things away and then being able to get rid of M2 is very powerful. And after post Zeno, if M2 is already on board, that's a free 5k combo every swing. Very powerful. Now this one was an addition. Well, I wanted to test it out. I do like the card. I'm not sure how powerful it is in this particular deck, but I do like the card. It's the Baba, where you can come out and give it an Earthling. Obviously, our leader isn't an Earthling, but let's say we oppose Zeno, we give it to any of our Trunks is an Earthling, Gohan's an Earthling. We have our chain attack. This Bulma's an Earthling. So there's a few things that are Earthling. Even our Xeno Trunks is I believe is an Earthling. So there's a few things you can do to give them the 5k. And then restand them, because then they get the 5k for the turn if you want to use that with your leader. So that's an extra, you can have extra pressure. Then there's our Champa card. It's the Hidden Kai. Give us a double strike, the surprise double strike. I think almost every deck should at least run 1 double strike just for that, extra push, depending obviously what deck you run. The next one is Burst Attack. Now there's arguments for 4 and 3. I've always played 3, and it's always worked out for me, so I just stuck with 3. And obviously drawing this post Zeno is very powerful as well, depending how you map it out. And being able to restand Gohan to swing again to draw 2 seems pretty busted to me. Then obviously our chain attack to chain into to our Zeno is the main thing to do, but you can obviously chain into burst attack, lower your hand, get the double draw. Unbreakables, an extra super combo, always needed. Probably the best card after a Zeno is Hit. I love drawing a Zeno after Hit. It also stops a lot of combo pieces when people are trying to get a certain combo off. You can rip their pieces out of their hand before they get to it a lot of the times. Then Kefla. Now this one is just a late game good card if the game seems to push that far. I don't think, when I play tested, it didn't come into play too much. I could have played it, but it's I always chose to save my energy and play Hit or do stuff like that. So Kefla is still good if it gets to that point, but you can easily throw in almost any bomb at the end. I just like Kefla. 3 attacks potentially with Kefla with your leader. To get 3 draws seems very powerful. Then with why we're running the Broly, not why we're running it, but the fact that we have access to Cobalus. Argument for 3 or 4. I might even go to 4, depending on how the meta shapes, right? If the meta shapes where people aren't running Deflect, or, you know, Cobalus is actually very important, then you would obviously up to 4. Now, for the yellow cards that I chose, which I'm about to explain here, you always want to just have, what, 3 red and 1 yellow. So you never really want to tap your yellow on your turn. You always want to tap the yellow on their turn, and you always want to savor Cobalus. So Cobalus is really the only card you want to ever tap your yellow for, because now we have Time Magic, and obviously you can use a yellow to tap it, but with the Sparking, we can negate for free. Obviously, we still need some kind of negate, so a little bit of defense. So Time Magic is there to negate the attack without having to use our yellow energy, which is very important because we want to save it for Cobalus. Now, it does have Sparking, which does kind of go around our whole Fu and Type Patrol Trunks thing. You need to be aware of when you're Scientist Fu, when you're Type Patrol Trunksing, and if you can afford to, you know, get the grade back to 5 or and have the Sparking, you know, so you got to map that out. That is a bit tricky, which makes it a little bit harder to play, but that is something that you can do. Then obviously our super combo doesn't require us to tap a yellow. Our Frieza combo to play card, another great card to draw after a Zeno play, because it defends you and adds pressure on your turn when it comes back, and you don't have to pay any yellow for it, so thus it's another yellow energy that we don't need to actually pay yellow for. And then the last one is the Bulma. Now this one, you know, could maybe be switched. I do like it in theory, and every time I've played it, I've actually liked it, because when you play it, you can mill the top 2 of your deck and thus help your overrun going or help your Sparking going, and then it untaps 2, so you never actually have to tap out your yellow to play it. So yes, it costs 3, but it really costs 1, and it really just costs 1 red, so you never have to tap your yellow. And another thing you can do, chain attack into this. Let's say you chain attack on top of the Trunks, so you tap 2 red to put this chain attack on top of this Trunks, and you chain into Bulma. Obviously isn't the ideal situation, but you chain into Bulma, and you can untap those 2 energy and then draw cards. So you basically have a Trunks for free and a Bulma, which drew you a card. So now that is the deck. Now I just want to explain the strat of the deck and why I chose these cards over some other cards, like let's say Mira. A lot of people want to play the Mira with this one, you know, Mira Bad Ring Champa, and you can end the game with that because you can attack twice with Mira, and that's a great strategy. But in a Chain Zeno deck, it's not the best strategy, because let's say if my goal is to Chain Zeno you, I want to draw the best 5 cards. I don't want to draw into 1 Mira. I don't want to draw into a Bad Ring Laser. I don't want to draw into, you know, the 1 random Champa. You know, it's like, unless I'm a god drawer, which, you know, sometimes people say I draw really well, you know, after you chain Zeno, if I drew into Mira, Champa, Bad Ring, a yellow card, and like a super combo to defend myself or something, now that would be pretty busted. But the odds of that happening are very slim to none, so you want to optimize what you're drawing after Zeno. So if I draw Fu after Zeno, I'm golden. I draw my Unbreakables or super combos, I'm golden. I draw a hit, I'm golden. You know, even this Gohan, I'm golden to rebuild my hand. This Frieza, I'm golden. My super combo, you know, there's so many good cards to draw back into after your Zeno. So the goal is to get the Zeno off. Now ideally, you, like I said, you're at 5 life, your opponent's at 4 or something. With your 5 life, after you use Zeno, you swing with your leader. Now you have 5 cards, right? You swing with your leader, you take a life. You now draw another card to 6, and you take your life to 7. They, you know, they have to defend or whatever. You awaken yourself to give yourself the 15k. So now they have to defend themselves, going to 5-4 or 4-3, or they defend themselves with a card. You untap 2 energy. Then you swing with your Zeno or whatever. Then you can swing. Then you can use your Broly's ability, take another life, boom, and restand the Broly. So now you're at 8 cards. Swing with the Broly again, going to 9 cards when you draw. And then let's say you draw into a Fu, let's say you draw into a Trunks. It's just more plussing, more things to do. You got super combos, Unbreakables. You can put a lot of pressure on them. Now, if they're at 4 life, they either have to defend or get to a very vulnerable spot. But now you have your 2 up, you know, you have your Lust up, and you can have another one for, you know, Unbreakables or any of that kind of stuff for when they try to crack back at you at your 3 life. But your hand advantage of having 9 cards to their potential, you know, depending whether they defend or don't defend, it's pretty much lights out for them. And then usually, unless you draw into Fus or stuff like that, you can usually just kill them on the next turn after. And that's the idea. You chain Zeno them, and then let your Broly swing twice, draw a bunch of cards, take a bunch of life, and just do that. Obviously, every situation is a bit different, but that is the ideal situation. Now, that is the deck. This is the initial build. I'm going to be tweaking this and working this quite a bit. I do have a bunch of other Broly decks. If you want to see the other ones, just leave a comment in the comment section below, or just check me out on stream on Twitch TV. I do a lot of deck building there. I do have a bunch of like other Broly decks, so if you guys want to see that, just leave a comment in the comment section below, or come check me out on Twitch. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.